Hello, my lovely people, and welcome back to the Sex, Drugs, and Jesus podcast. I'm your host, Evan Hubert, and this is going to be part two of this pop up series that I just had to do on this breakup that I just had to have with my covertly narcissistic as ex boyfriend. Covert narcissism and narcissism in general it just wreaks terror on the people that it touches. I thought for this half a decade when we were together, it was like a maturity thing or just, just normal human problems and shit. And no, I didn't know that this is like a serious, serious thing. There's all kinds of now that I'm digging into this and researching it, like on different social media, Instagram or wherever, different like narcissism survivors and shit like that. In a way, well, no, I totally feel like I've just been engrafted into a sisterhood of sorts and well a brotherhood as well because this happens to men too. You got some narcissistic females out there as well. It's not just the boys out there destroying people and damaging people's hearts. But I feel like I'm, a part of a new collective or conclave or sorority or fraternity or whatever you may call it. And I feel like, I feel like I'm not alone. That is one thing that I really, really appreciate about this particular drama this time is unlike when I got HIV and I was going through other stuff and I felt totally isolated from the world and from everybody. I thought I was the only one suffering with that. No. This time I have a clearer head on my shoulder and I'm absolutely clear that it's not just me. This didn't just happen to me and I am not alone. That makes me happy. That makes me smile as we begin to push the darkness, of these last years with my ex away and we begin to look to a brighter day. So let me go ahead and start with my scripture. This time I'm Psalm 36, a few verses, and this says, "The transgression of the wicked says within my heart that there is no fear of God before his eyes. For he flatters himself in his own eyes until his iniquity be found to be hateful. The words of his mouth are iniquity and deceit. He has left off to be wise and to do good. He devises mischief upon his bed. He setteth himself in a way that is not good. He abhors not evil." The last verse of this psalm says, "There are the workers of iniquity fallen. They are cast down and shall not be able to rise." I say this as I issue a warning to narcissists out there and for people who think that they're going to be able to just devastate people, lie, control, deflect blame. Mm, Well, be very Trumpy, be very Donald Trumpy, be very George Santos like, and I think you're just going to go skip off and have a nice, peaceful, calm life and afterlife and everything's going to be all right for you. No, it's not. You will reap every little bit of dirt you have sown and you will reap double. Okay, because of your unrepentant and way and you're not humble and you have the nerve to devastate people and then turn around and be arrogant about it too. In other words, you do too much. You do way too damn much. And you don't fear God. I mean, I don't see how you could possibly even know him or have any sort of like serious spirituality about you. And you're willing to devastate the most precious thing on the earth, which is people. And not sex, not drugs, not money, not power, humans. There's nothing more valuable than humans. You know, we are the apple of God's eyes. We are the best thing on this planet, next to the angels, but and we are made just a little bit lower than the angels, baby. We are divine beings. You cannot go around treating God's people this way and think that it's going to be okay for you. In verse 2 says he flatters himself in his own eyes I read through this and all I see is narcissistic people. Baby, until his iniquity be found to be hateful. Yeah, I strove with my ex back and forward for years until it was just like disgusting and sickening, to look at him and to hear the foolish things that he would continue to say. It just got to a point that it just became hateful. It's just like, damn, you won't repent, you won't say you're sorry, you won't change, but you're gonna keep doing the same shit over and over again. You've been to counseling for years, no evolution. What the fuck could anybody do with that? Except for do like Jesus said, which I said in the last episode, which was from such turn away. If somebody has a reprobate mind and they just refuse to change and evolve, you cannot do nothing with those people. Staying in a relationship with them is gonna wear you the fuck down. It's gonna drain you. Stress can cause all kind of health issues. You don't want cancers creeping up on you. You don't want nervous system disorders creeping up on you. You don't want, these things. Stress goes into your body. And I learned a lot about this when I was studying anatomy and all the different nervous systems and things like that of the body when I was getting my massage therapy certification. That stress goes into you and it like sets there. If you don't get rid of it, it's gonna manifest somehow. Tumors and shit show up on people. You go running to the doctor trying to figure out what the cause is. It might be that narcissistic ass asshole that you've been in a relationship with, worrying shit where they're at if they're telling you the truth. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I could see if it was a child that you bear some responsibility for creating or, adopting or whatever. But your significant other was you're not their mother. You're not their father. You're not their parent. I felt, many times like I was in that role, you know, with my significant other, but that was not the role that I was meant to be in. We don't need to be raising, our partners. We need to have somebody who's our equal and who can help to build us up and we build them up, not us constantly trying to pull them up when they're only trying to tear us down. And it says that the last verse says, "There are the workers of iniquity fallen. They are cast down and shall not be able to rise." So where are the people who do these evil things fallen? Right where they have always been, in the midst of their deception and deceit. There is no other way. And so that is my warning to narcissists. Stop being an asshole and doing these hard, mean things to people. Stop being so hard hearted, or you're gonna reap what you sow. Turn around, repent, start apologizing, go before God and confess everything you've done and go get your ass some counseling and stop. Because I refuse to think that anybody is above redemption or above second chances and third chances, ever fucking many chances you need to get it right. But you're not gonna get that if you keep lying. Like that's not going to work. God don't do liars. I'm not gonna do liars. You shouldn't do liars. Mm. All of you have been hurt by these narcissistic people. I'm just praying for peace over you. This is a bitch of a headache, to have to circumnavigate through. Good God, you know, but navigate through it we can. Every counselor that I've talked to have all said the same thing. They're like, run away. They don't hold out hope that somebody who's a narcissist can change. They're like, it is very not likely because in order for somebody to change, you have to be able to admit that you're wrong wholeheartedly through and through without reservations and qualifiers. It's the first step. And that's a step that they cannot fucking do because they really don't want to fucking be wrong. So how the hell can you help somebody who don't want to be wrong? But still, you know, just like I don't believe someone always has to be an addict, fuck what the 12 steps say. Some of it's right. That part I don't agree with. I don't believe you always have to be a narcissist, but you're going to have to tell the truth. But the Lord said, Jesus said, you shall know the truth and the truth shall make you free. Lies are going to keep you bound, in a web of your own making if you insist upon going down that path. Now, I'm gonna get on some of the early, some of the warning signs and some of the different things like that that I saw that, well, I'll just talk about one of them that I've knowing what I know now, it all makes sense. One thing about having gotten out of an abusive relationship, you begin to go back and wonder, did I see this coming? Could I have avoided this? And yeah, I I saw it coming and I just didn't listen. I just didn't listen. In fact, I had a dream years ago, I first met my ex and it's like the Lord was telling me in this dream that somebody close to me was not being, real and authentic about who they are. You know, I think, and I told this to my ex and he, looked at the ground and stuff like that because he knew it was him. I think I knew it was him, but I just hoped it would change. You know, it didn't. The Lord tried to warn me, but here we are. Here we are. I remember how there was, for the brief period where my ex and I lived in my house together, which didn't work out because we were always arguing and everything. And trying to argue with a narcissist is just stupid. They don't keep you in this like vicious loop. Like we'd be arguing, I don't know, talking about the bed sheets or whatever, potatoes or whatever the fuck you want to talk about. He just arbitrarily started talking about like unicorns or some shit. And then when like the argument was clearly over and done, he would just, and if he was on the losing end of it, he would just throw something else out there just to keep arguing. It's like he fed off the negativity. He got off on this shit. You know, People like that are not working towards peace. They just want to fight because they have nothing but hell up in them. And instead of going somewhere to get their shit fixed and straightened out, they want to drag positive bitches like you and me down instead of going to get themselves elevated. Not today, Satan. It shall not happen no more. It shall not be. And so I come home from work. This is back when I had my massage therapy clinic. I come back home from work. The people across the street are all gathered outside, looking across the street at my house, pissed the fuck off. And I'm like, what the hell? Well, I don't know what the fuck didn't happen. I go in the house about like all of 5 minutes later, neighbor comes over and rings the doorbell to inform me that my ex had backed out of my driveway, hit their car, and drove the fuck off. I go and roll back the cameras because, everybody got cameras and shit. And sure enough, there's my ex backing out of my driveway. He hits the neighbor's car, which is like this souped up, race car Honda Civic looking thing that this man takes an incredible amount of pride with. Didn't have a flick of dust on it ever, you know, you know. And then my ex backs out, hits his car, drives down the street, comes back, gets out of his car, goes to look at my neighbor's car, and makes the executive decision to just go on about his day. Where was my ex heading? Over to this gaming store to play Dungeons and Dragons. I go out there to look at this car. This isn't some little scratch that you could have missed. It was a huge ass bumper side dent on the whole side of the driver's side of the car. Okay, I call my ex, cuss his ass the fuck out, tell him to stop playing games while he didn't hit someone's vehicle and didn't tell anyone. you know, who the fuck does that? Like the shit that these people do is so stupid. I'm like, whatever you say and do in this life can be found out. There is no running and hiding. I didn't realize then what a delusional world my ex was living in. In his world, it's okay to hit someone's car and run off and not tell them. Now, it might be a little different if you back into somebody's car and you're like at a fucking concert with 1,000 people there, or you're at the mall, you don't know whose fuck car it is. If it's like some little shit or the door hits it, okay, little shit like that, I accept is going to happen. I've come out and found little scratches on my car that I know wasn't there before I left. Oh, well, I mean, that's a part of living in this world and driving around. in a motor vehicle. But damn it, when you live across the street from the people and everybody got fucking cameras and peeping out the window, I'm sure it was a loud noise, and you leave a huge ass dent and you got to drive by that car every day coming home, it would make more sense to get ahead of that and be honest and just say what the fuck happened. But not my ex. He decided he was gonna tuck that little secret away and go play Dungeons and Dragons and have him a nice happy time. Never mind the person who's gonna walk out and have a damaged vehicle. Didn't give a fuck about them. you know, he would go on to demonstrate this behavior because we had broken up for like 3 weeks. Like, my God, I wish I had stayed broken up from him. Before, right, during the height of the pandemic and everything like that, we didn't have vaccines yet, but we did have tests. We were broken up for 3 weeks, and I was like kind of back and forth about it. We had been together like maybe 2-ish years, about at that point, 2.5. I go over to his house after 3 weeks to try to, establish a friendship, see if we're going to get back together, whatever, just have like a movie night. While I'm there, I notice a port wine bottle in his kitchen. My ex don't drink fucking wine. He's too basic for that. I, introduced him to everything that's nice and expensive in his life. Okay. So if he had a bottle of wine in there, that means he been fucking. Okay. All right. Well, we're broken up. You have a right to go and do that. I still felt cheapened by the fact that, it only took you 3 weeks to start fucking around after we'd been together for years. I hadn't had sex with anybody in that time as I was processing everything. And so I began to act out I began to go off on his fucking ass because not so much because of the sex, even though that was super fucking insulting and everything, but because we're in the middle of a pandemic and you can't go and fuck, okay, with a goddamn mask on. So I began to berate him and to go off on him about this. And the only thing that he could say is like, look, I was broke. We were broken up. I had a right to do it. I'm like, okay, you had a right to do that, but you did not have a right to have me over at your house without informing me that you've been within 6 feet of people that you don't fucking know. None of them bothered to get tested. He was fucking at this point 6 different people, you know, 6 different people. Within 3 weeks, he had 6 different fuck buddies. And none of them got tested for the coronavirus. None of them were masking around each other. And he's spending the night with these people, like long periods of time. And you got me over here sitting in your damn house in the middle of coronavirus when is this new, when people are like dropping dead all over the fucking place because you and your fuck boys from Grinder and Jack don't have enough goddamn respect for human life to to fucking stop by the damn pharmacy and get tested on the way to something. So they had hours and hours and hours to plan the sex, do the sex, plan all of this, the overnight, whatever the fuck they did. But you couldn't take 10 fucking minutes to go get tested, eh, you know, or at least inform people before you're gonna be around them that, "Hey, I've been around people, maybe you don't wanna come around me." No, all he could do was think about what the fuck he wanted. I, in my dumb assedness, still looked past this and everything like that, trying to be merciful and nice. Mm, bitch, that will be the last time. The last time. I didn't realize, when I used to think of the word narcissist, I just thought it was like a different type of arrogance or something like that. Or like a condescending person. I didn't realize that these definitions, I didn't realize it was a fucking mental health, the diagnosis and shit. I didn't know, all of this, but I don't know every fucking thing, and that's great and fine. I'm learning. I've been on this earth a very long time and have a very long road ahead of me. So here we are learning together. So I was, back at his home state visiting his family and everything like that, who I adore. Me and his mother get along phenomenally, phenomenally. She would have been great fucking mother-in-law, and I still consider her to be that, but and I still have a great relationship with her. I will be visiting her and she and I will be taking trips together and things like that. I'm not gonna let what my ex did cut me off from this beautiful, beautiful person that his mother is. No. She and I are bonded and we have a great relationship. Fuck her son. Okay. It's either a damaged person who damages other people without regard. And and but when I was over there, it's like I noticed the way he was talking to her. You've heard it said before, you always want to marry a man that has a good relationship with his mother. I hadn't really seen them interact too much. And my God, the way he would talk down to her, eh, you know, talk to her like she's stupid. You know, I really like cocked an eyebrow at that. By now I'm more like invested in my ex and trying to like, trying to compromise and make sense, you know, out of the things that I'm seeing that I know uh, just ain't right, but the dogs, they had like cute little dogs running around there. My ex would be mean to the damn dogs too. And I'm like, how in the hell you gonna be mean to a dog that ain't but this fucking big? Just a couple of like foot or two damn long. And even if it was a big dog, you're not supposed to be mean to animals and shit like that. And it was just the nasty things he would say to them and call it to his mom and the animals alike, just called them like stupid and different things like that. And I'm like, "What?" Now I now know why, because basically the most insecure people, the most ones who need the most validation go around trying to step on other people, when it would be so much easier to just speak positive words to lift people up. You have a mouth to use. You can use it for whatever you want. Speaking negative, speaking positive. My ex chose negative. I once asked him that I told him, "You know what? I'd like to for you to compliment me. I should not have had to say this. Perfect strangers walk up to me and tell me I'm fucking hot or beautiful like all the time, but I could never get words like this from my ex." And I said, I made that request. That launched to a whole fucking argument. A whole damn argument. Why the fuck are we arguing about me wanting you to say nice things? His perspective was that people say nice things and it's a lie and it's not real and they only say it to be fake. Well, we all know who the true liar is. The real thing is he doesn't have any joy and light in him to give, and so he does not know how to give it. The compliments I did hear him say would sound so fake, and hollow and plastic, and it would be so like unreal. It was like it was forced. He couldn't even tell a woman she had a nice blouse on without it seeming like it was causing him torture. It's so opposite his personality to be positive. You know, that's how terrible it was. Now, mind you, when I'm asking him for this is when he was living in the apartment I had at the time for free. I wasn't charging him because he took his drunk ass to work and lost his job, even though I warned him not to go up there after an LSU tailgate one night. He was like, nah, nah, I'm good. It'll be all right. Well, it wasn't all right. And he went up there and this petty ass queen that was a supervisor, fired. He got him fired. But I didn't judge him. I let him move in and everything like that. And it was just this great, and this is how he was treating me. When he did get another job that, he went and got his first check and everything, and he had been living rent-free, utility-free, didn't have to pay for food. He went and got his first check, went to a game store, bought himself all kinds of shit, and went and laid his gifts to himself out on, our bed that I paid for and didn't buy me any fucking thing. Didn't donate a dollar, didn't call me from the store to ask me what I wanted or nothing. The only fucking thing he thought of was himself. And then when I questioned him on that, the lie that came out of his mouth was he didn't buy me anything because he didn't know what to get. I said, "But you didn't call to find out either, or you didn't take a stab in the wind. The fact of the matter is you just didn't fucking think about me." And then that was the whole thing. And he tried to lie. A couple of months ago, he finally confessed. He was like, "Oh yeah, it was because I really didn't think about you." I'm like, "Okay, I know." And again, I was thinking it was just like a immaturity thing or whatever. No. This is a sickness in him that is deep rooted and quite problematic. And as I read through these different groups I'm finding online now and these different people who have written books on narcissism and things like that, like he's like textbook. All of that shit describes him. So I'm hoping that somebody is listening to this and I want you to know that you are not crazy. It is not you. It is them. That you have got to get the fuck away from them because they're not trying to change. They will sit in front of counselors. They will lie. Who the fuck lies to the couples therapist? Like I can't even. I just can't. I just can't wrap my head around that. Like that's supposed to be like the safest space. You can't say anything in the relationship to your partner directly at home. It's the fuck you going to the counselor for? Why go there and lie? I stopped paying for the shit once I realized he was such a damn liar. I'm like, okay, I'm not paying my half. You can come here and pay for this whole thing if you're just gonna come here and sit here and lie to bitches anyway. There was only a few after that, then the relationship was over any damn way. And I want to touch on like hypocrisy for a moment. These narcissistic people don't mind having a double standard. They so fucking Republican like. When I was talking to my ex, it was like he may as well have been George Santos or Donald Trump. Like it's like men who just don't care about how what they say, who they hurt, what they say doesn't have to make sense. You know, all three of those men will look at a, I don't know, fucking giraffe and tell you it's a kangaroo, and then try to make you think you're crazy for not thinking that that giraffe is a kangaroo. That's exactly how my ex is. So many times he'd have to retract his words. He had to say this over, say that, tries to act like he had a communication problem. The only communication problem that that motherfucker has is telling the truth because because the truth is not in him. And so when, like I mentioned in the last episode, when I had discovered Jared and I had asked Ethan to not delete that Instagram stream so that I can go through it and get what I need from my healing. And I know a lot of people say when cheating has happened, don't go read through the text mess. Okay, everybody's different. Fucking, I want to know what was said, what was done. Okay, I need to see the shit. And he deleted it. Ethan deleted it anyway and lied about it. When we would be in counseling and things like that, if I did something like 5 months ago, he'd still be bitching about it. Now I did whatever, confessed it, apologized, and you still want to complain. I asked you. And he would say that it is because he needs it for his healing or whatever. I'm like, okay, so we're gonna have to talk about this same shit 10, 15 times, you know, supposedly for your healing. You want me to deal with your constant repetition and stuttering words and changing everything, you know, because that's what you need. When I tell you what I need, you're like, well, fuck all that. I don't give a shit. I'm gonna do it anyway. And it really wasn't that he was stuttering so bad or trying to change his words. What he was doing is pausing to try to see what he needed to say in order to control the narrative or to manipulate. In other words, he was never really authentic. Only a few times did he ever let true truth slip out of his mouth. And it's like his tone of voice was just like flat and go down and change. He was actually being real. This may have only happened 7 times in the half a decade we were together. Now that I look back on it, one of those times he slipped and he was like he said that he doesn't think people really want to know the truth. And I asked him, well, how the fuck did you come up? He was like 21 or 22. I was like, how in your 2 little decades on this earth have you come to such an intense conclusion about mankind? And of all the conclusions you could come to, you decided that people are adverse to the truth. He claimed that he had abandoned that mentality, but the bastard lied. He still believes that because Ethan has a very negotiable relationship with the truth, just like George Santos and Trump. They just it's just not a relevant thing to them. You know, like literally, my ex could go sit down for tea, darling, with Trump and Santos, and he would be in great company. Like Like, he is just like them. A part of what, like, hurt the most, though, is, like, you would think after all these years that a person would have some reluctance to do this sort of damage to somebody that they claim to care for. One of my favorite lines from the Gin Blossom song, "Found Out About You," is from the first verse where the guy is saying that, that the things you said and did to me seemed to come so easily. My ex, Ethan, he lied to me so easily. He deleted that Instagram stream that I asked him for to help me heal so casually, like it was nothing, and lied with such a calm voice. This is that sadistic, Emperor Palpatine, Darth Sidious shit. It would have been like one thing if Emperor Palpatine would have just like led all the Sith to just destroy fucking Coruscant, and just been done with it. But getting to know them for all those years as a senator and becoming their friend and attending Qui-Gon Jinn's funeral and, really, really rubbing elbows with the Jedi and getting them to protect him when he had Count Dooku or different people come to try to hurt him, whatever the fuck the case may be. All when he knew secretly on Camino, he had this whole clone army being built so he could execute Order Number 66 one day. Now, when Yoda and Obi-Wan finally was able to see that, that hurt them beyond just fighting an enemy. They had been seduced, betrayed with a deception that was a long time in the making. That's some other level shit. This did not phase the Dark Emperor. He fiend off of this darkness just like these narcissistic people do. I just don't see how somebody can look at somebody in the face every day like Palpatine and like my ex and like these narcissistic ass people, and they literally don't care about the fact that they're lying daily. They've got to be getting off on this shit somehow. These are some sick people. Okay. It just is. The games that these people play are just sickening. It's just fucking sickening. Beyond sickening. So in Revelation 22, in the book of Revelation, it says that it's about for without the gates of heaven. This is talking about like after the end of the world and everything goes up in flames and Satan's been, done away with and everything. It says, for without side of heaven are dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie. Now, some parts of the Bible say all sins are even and the same. And then some parts like this seem to differentiate. Seems like some sin packs a greater punch. This is not the only part of the Bible where God differentiates liars. He talks about how the devil is the father of lies, how the truth is not in him. The people who like to abide in lies, when you abide in lies like that, I hope you know that you are like in tandem with Satan. You are in tandem with Satan and abiding in the most evil, dark, and sadistic energy that you possibly can when you're willing to walk in a false show every day, when you're willing to walk in a false, and living a lie every day. And the only person you're fooling is you because you can't give away what you don't have. So if you think you're gonna fool other people, dude, like you have to first be fooled in order to do that. If I have clarity and wisdom, I can give that to people. I can't go out and give manipulation and deceit because I don't fucking manipulate and deceive people. And so, not to mention, you will, of course, reap what you sow. I've said that 1,000 times, you know, and falsehood. This is opposed. This is everything that is against God. You know, the Lord said in another place that a liar shall not tarry in his sight. You understand that, Jesus was crucified with, I think it was like a murderer and a thief. He wasn't crucified with a liar. You could literally be like the town whore, like who Jesus forgave all her sins. And I say town whore loosely because she didn't get there by herself. Okay, all the men helped her, then they wanted to judge her. Jesus was cool with that. I'm not saying go out and kill people and then run around and ask for forgiveness. Do not do that. And I'm not saying go slut it up either, but the point is, like, God will work with you on whatever the fuck you have done. But if you're going to be a liar, even God is like, get the fuck out of my sight. I cannot. You're not going to be standing up here in front of my throne telling me some shit that I know is ain't right and trying to get me to believe you. God is saying, miss me with that shit. Okay, miss me. Or you could come and tell the truth, ask for forgiveness, and then we can work on it. It is so much easier to tell the truth. It is so much easier to tell the truth, but damn it, if a liar is not good enough for God, a liar should not be good enough for me or any of us. We will no longer suffer fools. We will no longer suffer liars. They need to get the fuck out. At the very damn least, the people who are hanging out with us, we should know what they're really about and they should be able to tell us the truth. If you got to lie, baby, just go. Just get the hell on somewhere. And notice, my greatest complaint against my ex is the lying. His sex was always used in a disrespectful way against me, but none of us are virgins. Okay. He's got just as many miles on his dick and his mouth as I do on my asshole. They've all been used up. You know, it is what it is. It's done now. But there's no need to go lying about it, possibly killing people with COVID and shit behind it. It didn't have to get all messy and icky and disrespectful and low vibrational like that. It didn't have to go dark, you know. Interesting scripture in Jeremiah chapter 28. I suggest y'all read it. About there's two prophets in there, the very famous prophet Jeremiah and another one called Hananiah. Hananiah decided he was going to put on a very Republican like show. Jeremiah was like in these wooden stock bonds because Jeremiah had a time on his hands dealing with these Israelites, honey. So Hananiah gonna go in there and break these wooden stock bonds because Nebuchadnezzar had them in bondage, I believe, or was coming to put them into bondage or something like that. I believe they were already in bondage. Nebuchadnezzar was the king of Babylon, and God had given the Israelites to the hand of Babylon because they would not worship him and they wouldn't act right. And until the prophet Hananiah came in there talking about, well, I think he said within 2 years, these bonds will be broken. And in the Middle East, in those days, they would do like, demonstrations to demonstrate the word of God, like physical, demonstrations of things. And so he broke these wooden stock bond off of Jeremiah. And Jeremiah was like, okay, I'm not going to argue with you. Hopefully what you're saying is true, but it's probably not, but hopefully. And Jeremiah went on about his way. As Jeremiah was going on his way, the Lord told Jeremiah to turn around and go back to Hananiah. And he said, Hananiah is lying. And he said, instead of those wooden stocks and bonds, chains that are, the prison that he broke off of you, I will replace those with iron. And Jeremiah went and checked Hananiah and read him for filth. And he told Hananiah, basically, motherfucker, you lying. God has not sent you. Okay. And then the Lord struck Hananiah that he died because he lied. Again, it's so much easier to tell the truth. Be careful how you let yourself believe people like Hananiah who come in shit like much of the Republican Party, who put on a big bravado, and show to distract you from the actual facts of what's going on. My ex did that all the time. Little shit he would blow out of proportion and call me extra. And I'll be like, you're trying to distract. Towards the end of the relationship, I'll be like, no, I'm not going to let you put on this show and distract from what's happened or what you've done. They like to try to put your attention here and there. Don't let them do it. Don't let them do it. When you listen to like a Republican talk half the times, when they're done, do you really know what the fuck they said? And I know every politician can be on some bullshit, Democrats, libertarians, whatever the fuck. But these people in the Republican Party are a little bit a lot more bullshit than most. I just be like, "What the fuck did you just say?" Or they don't mind blatant hypocrisy. They just switch back and forth based on whatever serves them, just like a narcissist, just like my ex. It is no consistency. And I'm all like, the shit's recorded. We saw you at the riot, Josh Holly. Don't be trying to change it up now. We saw you, Mike Pence. You were afraid. We saw you run. Now you're trying to play it down. You go back and forth. Just depends on what serves them. This is how these narcissistic people are because they don't live in reality. They don't live in a world where they think they're ever gonna have to be accountable for anything. So then they view the world as this playground where they can just triddle along and just do whatever. Again, I feel like this whole situation with Ethan has been like a microcosm of life. We were together for half a decade and he really didn't have much to show for it. Like in terms of self-development, spiritual growth, personal growth. He was basically a lying fuckboy when I met him. He was a lying fuckboy when I departed from him. And remaining on this earth for however long does not guarantee spiritual growth of any kind or any personal development. You have to get out there and chase that down just like you do sex and all the pleasures and things like that. You have got to be serious about growing as a human. On a broader scale, you could literally waste your life on pleasures, on whatever kind of fucking shit you like to do and be so underdeveloped internally. And the whole thing is about balance. You can have pleasures and you can be super close to God too. You just got to put God above those pleasures. So those two things are not mutually exclusive. God created pleasure. He didn't tell you to run off and worship it though. The last major point I'm going to make is this: is anything that refuses to change is dead while it yet lives. Anyone that is overrun with pleasure is dead while they yet live. Narcissists don't care to change. And that's why, they will die in that position unless they rise. I think I said this in the last episode. I'll say it again either way. Every plant I've ever planted, or, every bird I've ever raised, they change. Every day I go out there, there's a new feather, there's a new leaf. If we look at our lives a year from now, a month from now, we should be able to quantify some sort of growth. My ex just wanted to stay the same, and this is something that he started to say after we had been together for all this time. He would say he only wants to make, 40, 50,000 a year. He only wants a little bit of money to help his friends and close ones. He had no concern for the world on a global scale. Didn't know this. He said he just wants a little bitty space to live and he doesn't want much out of life. I'm like, who in the fuck says that they don't want a lot out of life? Usually you want to like reach for the stars, and if you land on the moon, then you're doing good. He's all like, yeah, I just want to be here in this city. No need to lift off the ground. I'm like, okay, you know, I can't do anything with that. But if you won't evolve, move, God is speaking to us all around nature. If you have a puddle of water that doesn't have fresh water flowing into it, the thing will become stagnant. But in the water's always moving, is in a constant state of change. You have to always be changing. You cannot be a creature of habit. Or you're dead while you yet live. You have no life in you if you will not grow and move and let shit go. Now, like I said, I'm gonna be working on a book. You know, it's like every time I write a page, it's like I'm taking that trauma out of my head and I put it on that page and it's like gone. And several more episodes on this because this is a very, very serious issue. Because I want people to be aware of these signs. In the book, I'll get more into detail about those 3 weeks he was out there fucking around with COVID. I'm gonna put all the text messages, the sext messages that I found, in there so you can go through them and read. I'm gonna put the messages that I was sending him at the same time because he was texting me at the same time we was texting the people he was trying to go and cheat on me with. Like he had me on one screen and them on another screen, just moving back and forth. And I'm gonna let you see all this. We're gonna get into more warning signs, and I'll talk, in great detail about how basically I pulled a Carrie Underwood on his ass, and while he was over there hanging out with Jared, smoking weed and shit. When I first discovered, he said he was just gonna chill Netflix and chill and hang out with his fuck boy while he's breaking his actual boyfriend's heart. I said, okay. Well, while he was over there smoking, I went over to his house and started to take back the shit that I had bought him. So when he walked back into his house, he had been ravaged. No, that shit, I paid for all that shit. Goddamn it. Y'all remember Waiting to Exhale when Angela Bassett sold that motherfucker shit who had cheated on her, had that affair with that woman at work, the company Angela helped build now. Bernie helped build this. Okay. And she took her husband's shit. Well, she lit some of it on fire, and then some of it she sold for $1. Mm-mm. Some of Ethan's shit went in the trash. Some of it I just went on Facebook and gave it the fuck away for free. And I'll tell you exactly what it was, quite a bit, because I had taken good care of him. Said, okay, you gonna do me like that? Mm-hmm. And so and the one and there was a certain piece of furniture that I couldn't give away for free because the door was a panel was missing off of it and didn't want to take it downstairs. So I took a hammer to that motherfucker and broke the pieces and then made Ethan take the shit out to the trash. Oh, but there's so much more tea that I have to say about all of this and the way it went down. So I'll follow up in several months with an update on how I'm doing and how this is going. I'm trying to go travel abroad, maybe to another country somewhere to go get me some ayahuasca, some sort of psychedelic help with this. It's like I told y'all, I'm not gonna be broken up over this for long. I got ministering to do. I got a world to reach. I got 2 little Maine Coon mixed cats that need me, and I got parents here that need me. I got shit to do. I don't have time to be hung up on this dude. Okay, so I speak peace to you. I speak peace to me. I speak wholesome wholeness, healing, and deliverance, babe. Because in Mount Zion there shall be deliverance, and everything is subject to change, and there's nothing too hard for God. So let the Lord be magnified. We thank him for helping us through these troublous mental health times. Again, my name is Devanin. Thank you for joining me. I look forward to peace for you in the future. Have a great day.